Oh, hi, there's a Mazda CX-60 behind me here. Again? Yes, but this is a tweaked 2025 model. I've done over 1,000 kilometers in it, and I have thoughts which I want to share with you. So join me for a second date with the Mazda CX-60. Formally, this is a third date because I drove a PHEV at the launch event, and 2 years ago I drove a rear-wheel drive diesel model. This is also a diesel, but with a bit more power and all-wheel drive. So, third time I get to experience the CX-60 third engine variant and third color. New for 2025 is the zircon sand paint, which men would call greenish or maybe khaki if we want to be fancy. There are also two new trim levels. Some tweaks were made to the suspension and the driver aids have been recalibrated. I rewatched my previous two CX-60 reviews and I suggest you revisit them as well. This is a second date, so I'm not going to repeat dimensions or the engine lineup. I'll refer to any reservations I had in those videos and I'll add my new observations. Full disclosure, Anna and I were Mazda's guests at the Poznań Motor Show, where Mazda unveiled the 6e before the Polish audience. Mazda provided accommodation and food, as well as this CX-60 with a fuel card, so the trip cost us nothing. But will it pay off for Mazda? At dinner, I sat next to Mazda Motor Europe's top brass, and when they asked me about the CX-60, I listed a bunch of issues I have with it. Now, I got the impression they weren't particularly surprised and conveyed between the lines that my suggestions, no matter how valuable, won't make this car sell any better for the investment to pay off. And this is the reality which the car makers have to face. In the end, it's all about bottom line, and this also means keeping emissions in check. But that's a topic for a different episode. Now, I'm not taking Mazda's side here. As a customer, you don't care why a 3-liter inline-6 in a modern SUV feels agricultural, and what does that have to do with emissions? Now, probably the problem lies in the way that the gearbox is programmed. I felt it in the 200 horsepower rear-wheel drive model as well. In normal mode, everything is focused on curbing the emissions. Thanks to the mild hybrid, whenever possible, the engine shuts off and the car coasts, and when the engine is on, the gearbox is in the highest gear possible. Add slow accelerator pedal response and you've got a car that howls but doesn't go. Which is not to say that the CX-60 is slow. Like the rear-wheel drive version, also the all-wheel drive model is a few tenths of a second quicker 0 to 100 km per hour than the factory 7.4 seconds claimed. I got 7 seconds both in sport and normal modes, so it's only a matter of how the car reacts to the accelerator input in normal driving. Pedal to the metal and it gives you everything it's got regardless of the mode you're in. Of course, you'll get similar performance out of a BMW X3 with a 2-liter diesel and much better performance with a 3-liter diesel in the BMW. However, Mazda, which likes to call itself a premium brand these days, prefers to put the CX-60 up against the Volvo XC60, which no longer offers neither a 6-cylinder engine nor a diesel. On the plus side, fuel economy is decent for a 2-ton SUV. Instead of the claimed 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers combined, I got less than 7 in the city and less than 6 extra-urban. On the motorway, I averaged 7.1 liters per 100 kilometers, but Polish motorway speed limit is 140 kilometers per hour, and there is a lot of acceleration and braking. Yeah, I know. Anyway, 7 liters with free fuel means no hyper-milling. On the way back, Anna was behind the wheel because I had to edit stuff we filmed at the car show. Now, I appreciate the 220-volt outlet, which is under the rear seat vents. The PHEV also gets a more powerful outlet in the boot, but the one in the cabin is sufficient to charge a laptop. What I don't appreciate are the seats. Part of it may be our personal problem with them. After an hour behind the wheel, my lower back started aching and I was moving around trying to ease the pain. Anna also didn't enjoy sitting in the passenger seat. But let's assume this is our problem and now also probably our physiotherapist's problem, but never mind. What's universally bad is the lack of proper side bolstering. It seems as if the CX-60 seats were made for fat American butts. They were too big for me even plus 25 kilograms ago, and I'm still sliding about in every corner. This adds to the weird suspension setup choice Mazda made, installing softer springs and harder shocks. As a result, we've got the worst of both worlds: harsh ride and body roll. As part of suspension tweaks, Mazda has fixed a problem I noticed in the rear-wheel drive mode. When coming out of a tight corner, now the steering returns towards the central position. It's a shame they didn't improve the steering ratio, because doing a 3-point turn still requires a lot of turning of the wheel. On the plus side, the driver aids seem less aggressive. However, the active cruise control still starts braking too early, and it sometimes starts braking in front of a vehicle that's in a parallel lane. But it's less bad than in the previous car I tested. I get the impression Poland may be a bit too much for Mazda's systems. During the launch event in Germany, everything worked much smoother. Also, during a medium-intensity rain, all the systems based on the front sensors stopped working. Thank God for turning ESA warnings off with a single button. Mazda is among the best brands when it comes to disabling those annoying beepers. Less so when it comes to my diagonal approach test. In normal mode with traction control on, the CX-60 clearly struggles. In normal mode with traction control off, the car uses brute force to overcome the obstacle. Hey, whatever works. In off-road mode, because Mazda CX-60 has an off-road mode, the system is trying to figure out what's going on, and the car gets up the incline as well. This was on a dry day, but I suspect in the rain or in winter, Mazda would struggle. The BMW X3 and the Mercedes-Benz GLC did better. The Volvo XC60 was similarly mediocre, but it was a PHEV with rear wheels powered by an electric motor, whereas the Mazda is on a rear-wheel drive platform, in this case with permanent all-wheel drive. When talking about the cockpit, I have to applaud Mazda for sticking to physical buttons on the steering wheel. Also, for climate control, we've got physical buttons, and there is a rotary dial controller, whatever, on the center console and some physical buttons around it. Recently, BMW botched it by using haptic buttons around the iDrive wheel. And like BMW, also Mazda can't make a wireless charger that doesn't stop charging after a few seconds. Now, I found out it's part of the problem is that it's connected to the stop and start system, so whenever the engine shuts off, the charging stops as well. But after driving on bumpy roads, the phone will move around a bit and it'll stop charging completely. A red light will come on and a message will pop up that the charger is unable to charge the phone completely. Take it off, take it out, reset, whatever. So it just doesn't work. Since 2023, the price of Mazda CX-60 went up by several percent, a bit more for the diesel engines and a bit less for the PHEV. Mazda also added 2 fully loaded trims, Homura Plus and Takumi Plus, so now you don't have to tick any options, just pick your color. Prices of the mildly refreshed Mazda CX-60 start at €48,890 for the PHEV, and this 3.3-litre 254 horsepower diesel with all-wheel drive in Homura Plus trim costs €67,150. Mazda emphasizes the 6-cylinder diesel engine, which makes the CX-60 seem like value for money when compared to other premium SUVs with similar engines. However, beside the price, Mazda doesn't have much to offer in terms of comfort and performance, even compared to 4-banger diesels. Now, spec for spec, a BMW or a Mercedes will cost more than this CX-60, even with a smaller engine. So, what would you choose? A fully loaded CX-60 or an X3 with cloth seats? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.